Hey gamers! In today's video, we'll be diving into the Overwatch 2 patch notes for the month of July. We have some exciting hero updates to discuss, so let's jump right in. First up is Orisa. She receives a buff to her ability called Fortify, with the damage reduction being increased from 40% to 50%. According to the developers, this change aims to make Orisa a stronger counter against team compositions that heavily rely on crowd control. Next, we have Ramatra, who gets a buff to her ability called Ravenous Vortex. The projectile now passes through enemy heroes but is still blocked by barriers. This change improves the ability's consistency, preventing unpredictable bounces and delays. It also makes it easier to use against groups of enemies without the fear of accidental collisions. Reinhardt receives a buff to his barrier field, with the maximum health being increased from 1200 to 1400. The developer's intention is to enhance Reinhardt's ability to protect his allies by increasing his barrier uptime. They will keep an eye on this change to ensure a balanced experience where players don't constantly feel like they're shooting at barriers. Wrecking Ball also gets a buff to his quad cannons. The manual reload time is reduced from 2 to 1.6 seconds, but this change does not affect the automatic reload while transformed into a ball, which remains at 2 seconds. This adjustment makes manual reloading a more viable option for Wrecking Ball, as he rarely needs to do so due to the automatic reload triggered while in ball form. Sojourn receives a buff to her railgun. The number of shots required to reach maximum spread is increased from 8 to 12, while the overall spread is reduced by 12%. This change aims to help Sojourn build energy more consistently, allowing players to have more direct control over aiming the projectiles when firing in short bursts. Soldier 76 gets 3 buffs. Firstly, his heavy pulse rifle damage is increased from 18 to 19. Secondly, his Helix rocket's explosion damage is increased from 80 to 90. Lastly, his biotic field healing per second is increased from 35 to 40. The developers state that these changes are aimed at improving Soldier 76's reliable damage output and making him more effective in combat. The increased healing from the biotic field also allows him to support his team better and stay in the fight longer. Moving on to Symmetra, her photon projector receives some adjustments. The secondary fire's maximum impact and explosion damage are both increased from 45 to 50. Additionally, Symmetra can now regenerate up to 30 shield health per second when her primary fire deals damage to barriers or enemies with shield health. These changes aim to make Symmetra more effective against certain heroes by countering their shield health and reducing some frustrations caused by her turrets. Speaking of turrets, their damage per second is reduced from 40 to 25. However, they now reveal enemy heroes to allies while dealing damage and for 1 additional second afterward. These changes make spreading out Symmetra's turrets a more viable option, focusing more on utility rather than raw damage. Torbjorn's Rivet Gun also receives adjustments. The secondary fire spread is reduced from 5 to 4.5 degrees, allowing for more accurate gunplay. His deployed turret sees a reduction in damage from 14 to 11, accompanied by an increase in cooldown from 10 to 12 seconds. The developers want to shift some power from Torbjorn's turret to the rest of his kit, rewarding players for precise gunplay. Additionally, Torbjorn's overload ability now reloads 6 ammo on use, ensuring no downtime between activating the ability and shooting projectiles. Kiriko has an adjustment to her healing Ofuda ability. The recovery time is reduced from 1 to 0.9 seconds. This change makes the primary fire more responsive in situations where Kiriko is pressured to focus entirely on healing. Finally, Zenyatta receives some changes to his Orb of Discord. The maximum range is reduced from 40 to 30 meters, and the time it takes for the orb to wear off the target when not in line of sight is reduced from 2 to 1.5 seconds. These changes increase the risk for Zenyatta when applying Discord, while also providing more counterplay opportunities for the affected target. That wraps up the hero updates for the Overwatch July 2nd patch. Stay tuned for more exciting content and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for future updates. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.